board members' concerns. Do we have any member concerns by colleagues?
No.
None here.
Hearing none. The report of travel. Jill, do we have any travel you want to report?
Nothing to report, Dr. Burke.
Okay, then we'll skip down to item number 4. Does anyone have any questions on the March Governing Board agenda?
No.
No? Okay, then we're moving right along here. The approval of compensation for a board member assistance. Are there any of those to approve today?
Dr. Burke,
Yes.
this is Barbara. There are quite a few to approve, but all but one are renewals of existing board assistants, and board member Rodriguez hiring Matthew Holder, who was a pre-existing board consultant. The new applicant is Tricia Marone from board member Ben Benoit. Council has reviewed her qualifications, and she qualifies as an independent contractor consultant.
Okay. Can I get a motion on approval of the board member as consultants agreement?
I'd be happy to make that motion since I think I'm the bulk of the changes this time.
I'll
Okay.
second it, Mr. Chair. I'll second it, but I'm concerned about, I think Mr. Bonet's trying to stack the consultants.
Well, what it is what's really happening is I have a long-term consultant, Ruth Ann Taylorberger. She's actually been a board consultant and was a consultant for the early years of Mayor Ron Loveridge from Riverside. But
Wow.
unfortunately, she's moved away and she's moved up to Washington State, and I'm losing her over the next 6 months. So I'm starting to have to bring in other people to backfill her and find some more new board members. So that's what I'm working on.
Just kidding.
Yep. No, but still,
But that
Well,
is
you
a
know.
shame that she's going. She's just a great person. Just a
I
great
agree.
person.
Yep.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Would the board call the roll? Would the clerk call the roll?
Councilmember Benoit,
Aye.
Councilmember Cacciodi,
Yes.
Dr. Burke,
Yes.
motion passes 3-0.
Okay. Now, is your chair okay?
Yes, Dr. Burke. My chair is fine.
I want everything to be perfect here
Yes.
because I'm going to vote against this. Okay, Sanjana, your item.
Thank you. Good morning, Dr. Burke and members of the committee. Sujata Jain, Chief Financial Officer. Our financial audit contract for independent auditor is going to end in March. And the board authorized issuing RFPs for the audit services in November. That closed in January. A panel was convened in January to evaluate the 2 firms that submitted their proposals. Today we have invited both the firms, one of which is BCA Watson Rice, which is our current auditors, to interview with you for your selection. And the first interview is going to be with BCA Watson Rice. So I'll have the auditors come in.
Okay, would you bring them in?
Yes. So Dr. Burke, today we have Helen Chu. She is the quality control partner, and Rustico Cabalin, who is the audit partner with us from BCA Watson Rice. And Helen has a short presentation.
Haven't you?
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Helen Chu.
Oh, no. Didn't, they keep cutting me off here. Didn't you have a contract with us previously?
That's correct. We were the auditors, the external auditors for the last 3 years, yes.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Helen Chu. I am the partner with BCA Watson Rice, and to my right is Rusty Cabalin. He is also a partner with BCA Watson Rice. And we're here to present to the South Coast Air Quality Management District's Administrative Committee why you should choose us as your external auditors to conduct the independent fiscal audit for fiscal year ending June 30, 2020, 21, and 22. We are a certified small business enterprise and have been conducting audits of local government agencies since 1994. We have an excellent reputation in the local government audit industry. Our clientele are local governments located in counties of Los Angeles, Orange, and Riverside. In addition to performing financial and compliance audits, we also conduct performance and operational audits, internal control reviews, contract and grant audits, and information technology system reviews. We'd like to highlight our relevant experience, particularly with the South Coast Air Quality Management District and other similar experiences with other agencies. We've conducted independent financial audit for fiscal years ending June 30, 2017, 18, and 19 for the South Coast Air Quality Management District. We've also done a stationary source fee study and system reviews. For the Air Quality Management District, we've conducted financial and compliance audits of cities and entities receiving AB 2766 funds. We are currently the County of LA's auditor conducting Measure H homelessness, sales tax, financial and compliance audits. We are also currently the auditors for LA Metro conducting the financial and compliance audits of Proposition A and C, Measure M, and Measure R sales tax revenues and expenditures. We've conducted financial and compliance audits for the Riverside County Transportation Commission. In addition, we've also done information technology security assessment for LA Metro, Metrolink, and the Orange County Transportation Authority. Our experienced team for this engagement will be Michael DeCastro. He is our client service partner. He's also our managing partner for the firm with more than 25 years of experience in the financial compliance and performance audits. Myself, I am the quality control partner. I have been a partner in charge of the firm's audit practice and engagement partner for many of the firm's audits and reviews with over 20 years experience. I'll have Rusty introduce himself.
Good morning. As mentioned by Helen, I am Rusty Cabilin. I will be the audit partner for this engagement. I have more than 15 years of experience conducting financial and compliance audits of state and local government agencies.
And then our audit supervisor manager that we're proposing is Ihal Fakardeen. He's here in the audience. He has conducted various financial and compliance audits for government agencies for the past 6+ years, including the AQMD audit for the last 3 years. We also have Xavier Motley in our team. He is the IT specialist, and he will be conducting pretty much the IT controls related to this audit. Our audit approach, we have 3 phases to our audit approach, which primarily focuses on the audit planning, the testing, and reporting. Audit planning includes understanding the accounting and financial reporting system, identifying significant financial and compliance processes, and assessing the risk. Testing would be substantive testing, including the compliance testing that we perform for the single audit in accordance with uniform guidance. We also do detailed analysis, and then we develop findings and recommendations, if any, and then, of course, reporting, where we issue the opinion based on our audit. My last slide, Wayas, why select BCA Watson Rice, is because our understanding of the AQMD's business environment and its organization and financial structure will result in an efficient audit, lessening the burden and time required of AQMD resources. Our excellent reputation in the Southern California local government industry for the past 20+ years provides AQMD stakeholders and the general public with confidence in its auditor. Our excellent working relationship with AQMD management reduces the risk of audit inefficiencies and meeting audit timelines, misunderstandings, and disagreements. Our comprehensive understanding of the current and future auditing standards applicable to AQMD provides assurance the AQMD will be in compliance with financial reporting requirements. We are in alliance with the McGladrey Alliance, which is one of the top 7 CPA firms, and we basically have the same access to resources as they do, and we stay on top of the new standards. Lastly, in our industry, independence and objectivity is important and critical in our audit, and we will continue to have the independence and objectivity to make sure that there results in a quality audit. So with that, that's the end of my presentation. Any questions?
Any questions by my colleagues?
Yes, Mr. Chair, just one question.
Yes.
Has the firm ever been disciplined by the CBA, the California Board of Accountancy?
No, we have not, no.
So it's a license in good standing, correct?
That's
Yes.
correct. We go through.
Thank you.
We go through a peer review every 3 years, and we have a clean report.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you for your presentation.
I have a quick question that
Oh.
might be unrelated,
Oh.
but I'm just curious. When you guys are auditing agencies like this, do you guys ever look into public notifications to make sure they're being correctly done as far as when we are required to put out a notification, say for an EIR, that that's actually being published correctly? Is that something you guys look at?
Yes, we will look at that.
Yes, and we do. That's part of our procedures. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Dr. Burke, our next firm that has a short presentation also is Simpson & Simpson. And we have Joe Musa, who is the partner from Simpson & Simpson, to do a short presentation for you.
Yes, I'm the guy on the wall.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for having us. My name is Joe Musa. I'm a partner with Simpson & Simpson CPAs. Within the confines of our audit, I'll be functioning as the quality assurance partner. Pretty much, I'm going to be the review after Grace Yoon, who's going to be the engagement partner over the engagement. So thank you very much for having us. So very briefly, I'm going to talk a little bit about our firm. Actually, I'm pretty sure a lot of you are familiar with us. We have done the audit in the past, and we're going to be bringing back members that were on the audit before, back on the audit staff, in addition with new people. So you're going to see a lot of familiar faces. So in terms of our firm, and just like every firm here in California, we have a very strict continuing professional education requirement of our staff, which requires 60 units per year. 30 units have to be in government accounting and auditing, which is very important for us to stay up to date with the standards. In terms of quality control, we have what we call here a pre-issuance quality control review partner. Essentially, after the engagement is done, the quality assurance partner reviews it at a very high level just to make sure that there's a review in addition to the partner on the engagement. We have annual inspections that we perform where we select at a random basis engagements for review after the issuance of the audit report so that we can pretty much scrutinize the audit process and come up with improvements from that perspective. We have a peer review process, which all firms go through every 3 years. We just went through ours this summer with a clean opinion. And I'll show you some of the engagements that we work on in terms of large clients that have been subject to that review. In terms of prior performance, I believe that we've done this audit before in the past, and all I've heard was good things from feedback from management. We have had no litigation in the past, whether past or present, and we believe that we have an excellent track of services that we've performed to our clients in the past 43 years. Moving on to our audit objectives. So 3 main objectives here that we think is very important. Number 1, our audit is going to be critical to your...
You need to advance your slides. Thank you, Mr. Musa.
Our audit is going to provide 3 very good levels of assurance to different levels of AQMD. Number 1, your stakeholders. It's very important to issue these reports. It provides credibility to the Air District's operations in addition to the financial information. Secondary to this administrative committee regarding really helping you carry out your responsibilities to obtain these independent audits. And of course, for management, every year when we do these audits, there's always improvements and suggestions that we provide our clients. I think that this provides a great opportunity for management to re-look over their controls and over their operations. The audits, as the Air District has requested, will be performed in accordance with the AICPA standards. We will be issuing a financial report in addition, in conjunction with government auditing standards, and we will also be issuing a single audit report over your federal programs in accordance with the uniform guidance. So very quickly, just to recap the deliverables, an independent report over your financial statements. We're going to provide an opinion over the reasonableness of your financial statements. We're going to provide a report over the internal controls over financial reporting of the Air District. We will be providing a report and an opinion over each major program in addition to the district CFA. We will be writing an oral communication and also presenting to the board what we call our required SAS 114 communications to let you know how the audit went, to provide you with an in-depth look in terms of the results of the audit. And then we'll also be providing, if applicable, any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in internal control. And then at a lower level, deficiencies that we know will be presented in the form of the management letter. So very briefly, our audit approach is going to be very similar to what we've taken in the past with our audit here of the district. We're going to look at the planning. The great thing is that we are not going to be a new firm that's going to be coming in and doing a top-down 100% brand new approach. We have documentation of what we've documented in terms of the controls of the district in the past. We're going to review those. We're going to refresh those with management. We're going to save time because we have those templates already kind of saved with us. So in the planning stage, we'll be reviewing the district's internal controls. We'll be performing field work. And of course, before we do that, we'll provide the district with a very detailed schedule so that they're aware of kind of what stages in the audit we'll be completing. Of course, we're going to have supervision and review. Supervision from the management level, from the partner level, from the quality control review level. And then essentially we will conclude with the deliverables that we discussed earlier. The audit team. So everybody here should be familiar with Grace Yoon. She's going to be the engagement partner. Robert Fleming will be our IT principal. He also worked on the engagement in the past. I will be the quality control review partner. Wanda Molina, who was working in the capacity of an audit senior on the job before, will be your audit manager. And then we have Danny Kim, who's going to be the audit supervisor. And of course, we have our administrative team that's going to be handling any administrative type items, but more importantly, our senior auditors and staff auditors, which we'll be adding on the job. Now, why select Simpson & Simpson CPAs? Firstly, we are very confident in our track record with the district here in terms of the audits that we performed in the past. Secondary, I believe that the audits that we currently handle are very indicative of the fact that we do handle large entities. One of the ones that I believe would be most applicable is our audit of the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. We have been doing their audit now for 2 fiscal years. We are performing already in the works of performing their audit this year, which will be our 3rd year. Also, we've done audits for Metro, LADWP, one of our largest clients, Los Angeles Unified School District, and we do tons of work for LA County and LA City as well. Now, overall, and I'm not going to go through these one by one, I believe that our firm is set up to take on this audit, not only because of the fact that we've done so in the past, but I believe with the addition of the Bay Area's audit, we have really gained more in-depth understanding in terms of Air District operations. And I think that we have a more well-rounded, in terms of more staff available. Since doing the Air Districts audit here, we've continued working on Air Districts, which I think is very important. And that will conclude my presentation. I very much appreciate this opportunity and very happy to entertain any questions.
Any questions for Simpson & Simpson?
Mr. Chair, I have one.
Yes.
Board Member Caccioti, have you ever, in any of your engagements, the air districts or any of the government agencies ever uncovered fraud or maybe unprofessional conduct or negligence? And if you did, how did you handle it?
So that's a great question. We get that a lot because you would imagine maybe that we would see this often. And these days we have not seen fraud or negligence too often. I think that what we see the most, to be very transparent with you, is just error. People who just don't know rules and regulations, or oftentimes companies that are just not following their internal controls. And I think that from that perspective, It's very important for us as auditors to provide input in the form of management letters to provide our clients with guidance in terms of how to follow their policies. And also the thing about not being compliant with your internal controls is it leaves the door open for fraud. So could fraud exist if you follow the controls? No. But since you're not following it, then there could be potential instances where fraud could exist. So I think from that perspective, to be very honest, that's what auditors see more of, is deficiencies, is opportunity for fraud. Have I personally encountered a fraud act? The answer would be no.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Has your firm been sold since they did the audit at AQMD?
No, absolutely not. The people who own Simpson & Simpson CPAs, Melba Simpson and Brainerd Simpson, those are the manager partners. They still own the firm.
Why aren't they here?
Well, actually, we've done a little bit of a change in terms of the audit team. Melba is the managing partner, but what we're doing is bringing a new team for you in front of you. So although Melba
Was a mistake.
Oh, I understand. Well, we can.
From my perspective.
No, I understand that. I appreciate
Because
that
they
feedback.
did a good job for us.
Sure.
But I don't know you.
Of course, yeah, no, I understand.
I know them.
Sure.
So, them sending you, from my perspective, was a horrible mistake.
Understood.
Because the reason that they lost the contract was that they had been with us for, I think it was three years or 4 years.
Sure.
And you need to change auditors every 3 or 4 years.
Sure.
And this current company has been with us now 3 years, so it may or may not be time to change them, but I don't know you.
If I may respond to that, and I really appreciate your feedback. Although we don't have them noted in the audit team, one thing that we do at all times is you have unrestricted access to everybody in our firm. Of course, Melba's going to be involved in terms of coordinating with her and obtaining feedback from her. It doesn't mean to say that she is not accessible. Certainly, with your feedback, sir, I appreciate it. We definitely can include Melba as a member of this audit team, but to let you know, we have unrestricted access to her. She still works out of the LA office. I think the idea was for Grace to be the engagement partner in this run, for me to be quality control. Just based on my experience with the Bay Area, I believe that the team that we have set in front of you is more than capable to take on this audit. But again, I very much appreciate your feedback, and I'll make sure Melba knows about it.
Thank you for your presentation.
No, of course.
Excuse me, Dr. Burke, this is Jill Wynot. I want to let you know we have a request to speak on item 6, this item, and number 7 from Harvey Etter, when you're ready for that.
Oh, okay. Do we have another participant, Sanjana, to make a presentation?
No, Dr. Burke, those are the two teams and.
These were the two?
Yes.
Okay, then I'll call Mr. Yetter for his comments.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Of
course.
So just before you start, Harvey, so Dr. Burke, what is the committee's pleasure for the amount of time? Because Harvey wants to speak on items 6 and 7, as well as public comment. So it's up to the committee for how long you would like to provide him. Up to 3 minutes, but you want 3 minutes on items 6 and 7 together, or 3 minutes on each of those 2 items?
You can take three minutes on all of them, I don't care.
3 minutes.
Go ahead, Harvey.
On all of them, then it means,
You have 3 minutes on 6, and then you'll have 3 minutes on 7.
Okay, already,
3
thank
minutes
you.
on public comment.
all right,
You
hello?
didn't send me a Valentine's Day card, Harvey,
I didn't?
but I gave you 3 minutes anyway.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'm Harvey Etter. I'm speaking for myself and for the Public Solar Power Coalition. There's divestment of fossil fuels. It's a contradiction in the goal of this agency and having investments in fossil fuels for staff and for the institution. So this, I've heard there's a 4% rate of return, and then something about with LA County a 1%. We referred to some dirt that was going on with Tesla, selling up to 72 billion, manipulating the stock, and then slammed by SEC and Musk being taken away from the change his board around and whatnot. It did to the sawbone Saudis and said, well, we've got a peers investment fund, $500 billion, $1 trillion, whatever. And I see this was about 6-8 months, a year ago, and then recently the governor said something about that fund and for climate investments. Okay, so, last week, incorporate by reference the article from the LA Times. About 3 years ago, there were 90 cities and counties, governments that were suing the fossil fuel industries. Rise of sea level. Is it going to be a few meters in 20, 30 years? Is it going to be 10, 20 meters? They broke the record in Antarctica a couple of weeks ago. I heard first this ball from staff here. It was 67. I saw on the news they said it was 54. I don't know. The Arctic's melting. This is going on. We need to get that on the agenda. And that was not included in IPCC. So there's divestment. We set some kind of precedent with the state, with the university divesting South Africa was involved in that. We had 400 people arrested, taken over the administration building, and it was 77, 78, in UC Santa Cruz. So it needs to be done, has to be done, and then equitably and justly and for the benefit of society invested in the transition. So this has to be done like, different rates of returns that you usually get 7% or whatnot. You can get some big numbers out of solar, but there's a question of what to do with the benefits to society. Solar value, okay, that taking away the externalities and air emissions and deaths from PM, premature deaths and this kind of thing. Benzene, that you're purging benzene. Okay, so this should be included in all the audit stuff, details of how to phase this out. All right, everything, all these, the budgets, not just here, this agency, every agency in the state. And for number 7?
I believe the board still needs to finish item number 6.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Any questions?
Dr. Burke, I think you're on mute.
We're not able to hear you, Dr. Burke.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, there.
There you
I can
are.
hear me fine. I can hear me fine. So, what is the pleasure of the committee on this item? Let's just not have any auditor. How's that? Okay, we got to have an auditor. Okay, I understand. Say Caccioti down there in the hole. What do you think?
Either one. Both are well qualified. Both look like a good record. Both have good standing with the CBA, California Board of Accountancy. Bill, whatever you feel comfortable with, I am. They both work with AQMD in the past, so either one is fine.
I feel the same way. I don't see any real difference, so it's up to you.
Okay, well, Sanjana, my attitude is we keep who we have, and we give Simpson & Simpson next time it comes up the chance to bring in their full team. Because I just felt that they sent in the B team to try and get this contract.
I'm okay with that.
Now, this contract is for 3 years, right? I'm looking at the staff
2 years,
report.
I thought.
2 years?
2 years
Okay.
or 3 years?
3 years. 3 years, Dr. Burke.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So I would ask, I would make a motion that we retain the firm that we currently have. If I can get a second, I'll call the roll.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Would the clerk call the roll?
Councilmember Bernard?
Aye.
Councilmember Cacchiodi?
Yes.
Dr. Burke?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0.
Okay. Next up is Ron Moskowitz.
Good morning, Dr. Burke, members of the committee. Ron Moskowitz, Chief Information Officer. Happy Valentine's Day. Since our last admin committee, we successfully went live with the Spanish version of our mobile app and have had an increase of almost 1,000 new installs in the last 2 weeks. We began a 3-week user training and acceptance training on our newly developed legal system this week. And on the recommendation of Vice Chair Ben Benoit, we are working on displaying the public speaker timer on the video wall. Everything else is going good, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Vice Chair Benoit had another good suggestion.
Yes, sir.
And I wasn't there when he made it. I just happened to hear it this morning in gossip. So, and that was that the microphone go off automatically at the 3-minute time period. Now, both the vice chair and myself sometimes want to hear a little more testimony, and it may last like, 4 or 5 seconds. So I was wondering if there could be a switch at Ben's place and my place and probably Paul's place, so that if any one of the three of us want to extend it, we could press that switch and the microphone would not go off until we released it.
Yes, sir.
So just so you know, down in downtown Riverside, they have a very similar system to that does allow at the rostrum to someone can, I think you add 30 seconds and that turns the microphone right back on. So yeah, if that could be possible, that would be great.
Okay.
Yes, we are definitely working on that. We did receive that recommendation, and it's part of our research.
Now, I understand that our system has not been updated since in 7 years.
That's correct.
Right?
Right.
And how do we get that done?
We're looking at modernizing the system. We're putting together some proposals to see what we need to do.
I don't want you to look at it.
Okay.
I want you to do it.
You got it.
Okay, so, can we do that in-house, or do we have to hire people to do that?
We work with vendors, so some of it is in-house, but we work with a number of vendors to do that.
So how much do you think that costs?
That I don't have, but I can definitely get it to you pretty quickly.
Here, I don't want you to get to me. I want you to get to Joe Wynot. And if it's under $75,000, if it's under $75,000, I think that you ought to execute that and get that done like right now. If it's over 75, obviously it has to go to the, no, it's 100 now, right?
It's 100
We
now,
changed
right.
it to 100.
Correct.
Yeah, so if it's under 100, which it should be way under 100. But if it is, then, let's get it done. Because that's insane that we have all these systems and we have one that's not been reprogrammed in 7 years. How does that happen?
I agree.
Brian, how does that happen? Okay. Let's get that done.
You got
it. Okay. Sanjana, you're back up. Go ahead, have a drink. We can wait. Go ahead.
Actually, I think we had more public comment on 7.
The previous
Oh,
items.
okay, yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Burke.
And the vice chair reminded me that we have a comment
Yes.
on 7. We have testimony on 7. I'm sorry, Harvey, I missed that.
That's okay. We've got checks and
Is there
balances
someone-
here. Excuse me?
No, I was wondering if anybody could pull the camera down for Caccioti so we could see him.
How about he sit?
Councilman, stand up.
Yeah, have him sit on the
No,
two
don't stand up.
seats.
Can't you pull the camera down? There you go. There you go.
Under the
Oh,
stage.
I keep going back.
Don't break it.
Why not? There it is. You got it, man. There. That's more like it. I want to know what you've been doing the whole meeting.
I'm listening.
Okay. Mr. Eder?
Hello, my name's Harvey Eder. I'm speaking for myself and for the Public Solar Power Coalition. This is kind of in the context of, the broader overview of what's happening with us, with the district, the state, and the feds. Being run out of court by federal marshals and the FBI under color of authority, threat of imprisonment on December 2nd of last year in the 9th Circuit Court of Appeals to the Supreme Court. We got shut down a few days ago by the ACLU, and they say they notified us 2 weeks ago. Nothing ever came in the mail. And for the month previous that, for 3-4 weeks ago, they said they were notified. Anyway, we don't know who leaned on them or what happened. It's a pretty lousy decision. I don't know if they were informed of the process, and we can't get our information from them of what we did submit. It's not good. So, okay, we had a thumb drive and it had 66 sections. All but 2 were PDF. Those other 2 were public comments, number 7 and 8. We spent $270 cash on getting 27 thumb drives. They should have been PDF. We'd like to get them with PDF, and we want to get a provenance. First of all, why they weren't PDF, and then exactly what happened since then, if anything happened or changed. I think that's reasonable, and it should be on your dime anyway. So that's one big problem, and that has to do with this whole record before the Environmental Protection Agency and all this. And okay, tried to go to the website and see the board's last meeting and couldn't watch the darn thing. It was on and off like a few seconds here and there. You got to press it to go on. It was really frustrating. That's a problem. I don't know about this 7-year thing, but I think it's a legal problem too, man. And then benzene. Okay, there was a study done trying to find out about these testers, and it was in the auditorium 2 days, and GB, the manufacturers. I thought it was a couple years ago, but they had a thing on benzene saying that was like 35 premature deaths per 100,000 per year plus. Okay, that's very significant. Benzene was not included in the East LA, one of the community members brought their plan and wanted to know why. Okay, your natural gas trucks squelch benzene. Okay, our solar doesn't. All right, that's one. We think that's a big reason. It might be a cover. I don't know what extent it's gone to the other 10 areas. What kind of numbers are the problem is for deaths on benzene in the district, but we need to find out. We need to get those papers, and we need to get it ASAP. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. That concludes the public testimony on this item.
Yes.
This item does not require a motion.
That's correct.
Sanjana?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Burke. Good morning, Dr. Burke and members of the committee. Sujata Jain, Chief Financial Officer. This item is a presentation of our quarterly results for the second quarter that ended on December 31, 2019. First, we have a summary of our... Okay. So I'll go over a brief summary of our budgeted versus actual, and then show some comparisons for revenue and expenditures up to that quarter. And then based on those results, we have a 5-year projection. So once again, just a reminder, our adopted budget for fiscal year 1920 was $170.9 million balanced budget. There have been amendments throughout the budget that have been board approved. And then our actual results, we are seeing that the revenues are trending just slightly above the expenditures up to the second quarter. So when we look at the revenues, there's really nothing very different going on. We are where we should be at the end of the second quarter, which is pretty much half. So we are at 49% overall. And if we compare it even to the second quarter of last year, that's pretty much where we were. And if you look at the major sources of revenue, emission fees, annual operating and permit fees, they're coming in very much where the second quarter should end. And similarly for the mobile sources and other. And the transfers in are a little bit higher compared to last fiscal year at this time because we are pulling in the revenues for things like the Rule 1180, which we need to, which I'll show you in the next slide. We are poised to buy capital, etc. for those. So here is the expenditure categories, and salary and benefits, services and supplies are once again pretty much at the 50% mark. The capital this year, last year the second quarter was low because first of all it didn't have the AB 617 cash, which had just arrived, and so we were in the
Excuse me, Sujata?
Yes.
Which slide are you on? We're still just seeing the general fund overview slide, so I'm not sure if the slides are advancing.
Oh, sorry, I'm on slide 5. Maybe not.
There we go. Thank you.
All right. So I'm on slide 5, and I'm talking about the expenditure comparisons. And as I was mentioning that these expenditures are coming in pretty much at the 50% mark. And when we compare it to the last fiscal year, we are pretty much in line with that also, except for the capital. And the reason why capital was low last fiscal year is because the AB 617 money had just come in and we were beginning to buy that capital. And this year, we also have the money that's coming for Rule 1180, so we are buying capital there also. So we're moving along as far as the expenditures are concerned for capital. And this slide is showing so far, as of the end of December, the use of fund balance that the board had approved. That's about $2.6 million. Of course, last week, you added another $3 million in the mid-year adjustment, so it's up to $5.6 million. And then based on that, I have the 5-year projections based on these results. And in these projections, once again, we have certain estimates for revenue, which is mainly CPI, which is we projected at a 3% increase in the out years. The toxics fees that the board approved last fiscal year, we expect to get $2.2 million in fiscal year 19-20 and $4.4 million in the future years, so that has been projected here. This year, this is the last fiscal year of the Title V fee increase, which the board had approved in 2017, so there are no more fee increases shown. And on the expenditure sides, we have the increase in retirement cost that SB Sarah has given us. However, what SB Sarah has not given, or we have not heard anything as yet, is if they change any assumptions related to investment rate of returns, if they lower that assumption, that's going to cost the district approximately $3 million if they change it from 7.25 to 7%, so somewhere in that range. But we have not projected that because we don't know that yet. But it's something that we are keeping an eye out for. And salary increases, the board approved, and so this will be the last year, and then we'll go back to the for labor negotiations. And also in this projection, we have shown that we would like to put aside $1 million for the infrastructure fund, so that's been taken out of the reserves. And starting fiscal year 22-23, we would like to also start building the reserve for our long-term pension liability by putting aside $3 million because That's when the first series of our bonds will be paid off. And you can see that our reserves right now look very much similar to what we had presented in the budget, and they are at or above the 20% that the board wants us to be 20% of revenues. So, except in the last 2 years, but we have shown that we can manage that. Well, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Sanjana on this?
No.
I worry about that reserve number. Is that really a number?
Dr. Burke, the actual...
Is it an accurate number? Is there anything out on the horizon that you know about that would affect that number?
To the best of our estimates, Dr. Burke, what we know, that's what we project, like on the expenditure side or on the revenue side.
I didn't see the penalty fund account. How much is in that?
In the Health Effects Research Fund?
No, penalties. Yes. How much do we have in penalties for this year?
In the general fund, the penalties are about...
So, is the penalty fund in the general fund? Or is it a separate fund?
No, Dr. Burke. The penalty fund, which is, we call it the Health Effects Research Fund, that is a separate fund. And
No, that's not what we call it.
How much have we collected in penalties?
$11 million.
Okay.
Where is that money?
In the general fund, Dr. Burke, is the penalties that we collected this year.
I see. And so then you took part of that penalty money and put it in the health effects fund?
Yes, Dr. Burke, yes.
Yes. It was all, has it been that way as long as you can remember? Was there ever a period where there was a penalty fund account and the money stayed in that?
So, Dr. Burke, we have been moving regular basis since I have taken over every year.
No. But you worked there before you took over. So when Kelly was in charge, was there a penalty fund account?
So there was a BP ARCO special fund set up when we had that very large, unusual account. But were there any other special funds set up from penalties, or have the penalties always gone into the general fund? I believe that's the question that Dr. Burke's asking.
So we have BPRCO.
No, it's just the opposite that I'm asking. What I'm trying to get at is, but you're right, there was a BP account, which at one point it had close to $100 million in it. No, what I'm asking is, when the lawyers up in Bay's office find Company A and they write us a check, was there ever a time when that check went into an account which was specifically for fines?
So, Dr. Burke, this is Barbara Beard. I'm going to try and respond. To the best of my recollection, there has not been an account specifically to hold all the penalty settlement monies. There have been in the past several individual penalties where we have created special funds, such as the BPRCO, LADWP, from some of the larger, ExxonMobil would be one.
Yes.
There also was, back in the 90s, a requirement that we transfer some of our penalty money into a special account for small business assistance, but that statute has expired. So we no longer have that. So the penalty money goes into the general fund unless a special fund is created at the beginning. And then, as you noted, transfers out go to the health effects fund as well.
Okay, here's my problem here. How do you know? Now I'm over here, Sanjana. So how do you know? And you can't look to Jill for the answer, okay? So I know that's why you're looking that way. So how, it's a bookkeeping error, a bookkeeping entry, right? That keeps what is penalty money from the general fund money. I don't understand how we can just throw this money into the general fund. Is it just a bookkeeping entry? That, how do we keep track of it?
I mean,
See, you need a third eye.
No.
You need a third eye, so you can see Jill out of the back of your head, okay?
It comes from our legal office, Dr. Burke, and, it's either goes in the general fund or, like Barbara said, into the special fund. And that's how we account for it.
I find this troubling. I don't know about my colleagues, they probably don't care. But we always have spoken for the last quarter of a century that I've been here, we've always spoken of penalty money like it's a separate entity unto itself. And it's not, it's in the general fund. So, I think that maybe you and Wayne and Jill should sit down with me and discuss this and see if it's just me or if there is a reason that we should keep this money separate until the board decides what to do with it. Barbara, is there any restriction to mingling
No, that money
penalty
comes,
money?
that money comes, unless the settlement agreement provides that it would be spent on a certain thing, that money is totally within the board's discretion, whether in some years we use it to support the deficit in the budget. In other years, we've used it for special projects that the board has been interested in. It's, unless the settlement agreement provides otherwise, it's totally the board's discretion.
Is there any requirement to be able to identify how much penalty fund money that is available?
Well, I don't know of any statutory requirement. The board has typically requested us to make that distinction when we report out revenue sources.
Yeah.
And we do keep track.
Okay. I don't want to keep everybody
Can I
with
just
mine.
add one thing, Dr. Burke? This is
Sure.
Paul. So I just wanted to mention that whenever we ask Sujata how much money has come in from penalties, she's always able to give us an exact amount. So there must be a mechanism for them to identify that. So we'll explore that, and we'll come back and, as you suggested, we'll meet with you and talk with you.
Right.
The other point.
I agree with you.
And we always share that at the Budget Advisory Committee meeting and other things. The other point is that our budget for many years has always used $4 million of penalty money as part of our operating budget. We would like to get away from that and try and whittle that number down to zero, but we have not been in the situation in the last few years where we've been able to do that and still provide a balanced budget. So $4 million has been supporting the district budget, and anything after that goes to health effects and other purposes. But we'll be happy to sit down with you and go over the questions that you have, good questions.
Okay. Let's move along. I don't want to hold up everybody's times for my musings there. Are there any other questions for Sanjana before she goes down and gets her pistol to kill me? Okay. Then no motions required on that. Then we'll go to item 9. Oh, that's Sanjana too. Oh, can't leave yet.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Burke. So this item is to release 2 RFPs. The first is for consulting services for the deferred compensation plan, and the second is for the health insurance brokerage services. Happy to answer any questions on that.
Do I have any comment by my colleagues on this item?
Nope.
May I get a motion on this item?
Move approval, staff. Second.
Or second?
We have a motion and a second. Would the clerk call the roll?
Councilmember Benoit?
Aye.
Councilmember, sorry. Councilmember Caccioli?
Yes.
Dr. Burke?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0.
And Sanjana, I don't want you to misunderstand me. I think that you've done a superior job, an outstanding job. When I owned my business, I wish I had you working for me. So the questions I'm asking are not in any manner reflective of my respect for you or my respect for your ability. So I don't want you to think that, okay?
Thank you, Dr. Burke.
On the other hand, we have Derek Alatorre.
I'm just a little peon over here.
Item number 10. Mr. Alatorre.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Dr. Burke and committee members. As you're aware, back in February of 2019, the governing board approved the implementation of a fair quality education plan at 100 high schools in our district, primarily focusing on schools within environmental justice communities. An RFP was issued and to solicit proposals from organizations to help us with this. After the RFP process was done and interviews were done, the board selected Lee Andrews Group to contract for this program, what we call now the Why Healthy Air Matters, WHAM program. Lee Andrews Group has effectively collaborated with AQMD staff to help us with this program. They've done an excellent job, and as a result, they've helped us advance the board's environmental justice interests and policies. Based on the response from the program, it has been overwhelmingly positive by teachers and by the students. And if I could just add, from my own personal experience, I've gone out to a high school in an environmental justice community and teaching these kids about the program and about air quality has not only been rewarding for me, but it's been rewarding for them too, because there's a lot of things that they didn't realize that are happening in their communities that they can do something about. But that's just my personal experience, and I'm sure other staff members who have gone out and taught that class have the same experience. But based on the positive response from the schools and the schools and the students, we would like to again extend the WHAM program to the existing 100 schools that are participating, and also increase it by an additional 100 schools in the second year of the implementation. The contract with the Lee Andrews Group expires at the middle of April of this year. South Coast staff is extremely satisfied with their performance and recommends the board retain them for the next calendar year of 2020. The present contract is based on competitive selection process, and an option for up to 2 one-year extensions have been approved by the board. And with that, we are recommending the board approve the first of the one-year extensions. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions by my colleagues? I have only the following comments. in my travels around the district, I've gotten an unusual amount of complimentary comments about this program. And I believe children are the ones who will lead the way. And I think it's cost effective to seed this program. Our fearless leader is, I'm sure, watching this meeting by the video stream, and I texted him over the weekend, and I was talking to him about penalty money, Sanjana, and about a potential settlement with a institution. And I suggested to him that we increase this program substantially, because when you find something that works, you ride it till it doesn't work, and this is definitely working. This is really working. So I've got to compliment you, Mr. Auditor, you and your people, and I know that Monica Kim is off on a disability leave, but she continues to work from home, which I find that admirable too. But I think your department and the Lee Andrews Scoop have just done an outstanding job on this, and anything I can do to help out, please let me know. Just so long as it's not on horse racing day. Okay, I'll accept a motion on this item.
Happy to move this
Move
item.
approval, but I also have a comment.
Yes, comment?
Mr. Chair, and I'm very supportive since we talked about this last year and approved it. I love the program. I'd like to see if you could, I'd like to have staff maybe in one of these classrooms, and I'll go next year when I have more time in September to watch. But if we could have somebody go with a camera, a film, and take a video, just maybe 3 to 5 minutes, different parts. I want to see how they're actually implementing the curriculum. If they're doing things in the classroom, what they're doing outside, but if they're implementing what requested they do, actually have like lawnmowers, cars out there, electric cars, cutting the grass, electric lawnmowers. So I'd like to have staff provide us in the next couple of months a video. It doesn't have to be long, 3 to 5 minutes. We show it at the board meeting, so we can come back to our board and show them what we're doing. I think this is a great success story. I want to increase it like you do. I'm 100% behind it, but I want to see something in video. It just really highlights our success and really will make us do more in the future.
Yeah,
Before you speak, Mr. Auditor, Michael, you're absolutely right about that. And what we need is a video that we can put on what do you call it? The thing that we do, Google. That we put on Google. Because if you're going to get kids, if you have a little 1-minute thing on Google,
Yes.
and we're buying that anyway, man, it definitely should be there.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Auditor, didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to mention, I think it's a great idea also. We're just going to have some challenges, and we'll work with at least one of the school districts where we'll do the filming, but it's a whole process of putting them on a video and making it public. So it's not as easy as just showing up. We got to get not only approval from the school district, from the school, but also from the parents. And that's something we'll work through. So it may take us a little bit longer than a couple months to do. But so I'm
Okay, we understand the challenge. I think Mr. Eder put a card in for this item.
It's for item number 11, which would be the next item. Or did you want this? Oh, I'm sorry, it's 10.
Oh, okay.
Items
No,
10 and 11.
let's finish this. Let's finish this one up. Okay, I accept a motion on 10.
Dr. Burke, I'm sorry. Mr. Eder's card is for this item and the next item. So he does want to make comments on this item before you take it up.
Okay, item 10, Harvey, speak up.
Hello there, I'm Harvey Eder. I'm speaking for myself and for the Public Solar Power Coalition. Climate change has to be talked about in the high schools and down in through the grammar schools. This is important. And the use of the word clean for natural gas should be legislated out of the state of California. Only zero emission solar renewable vehicles like solar batteries with recycling for the batteries, lithium, for example, and solar electrolysis to hydrogen fuel cells, etc., and other approaches. So it's a great program with the high schools and stuff, but they ought to tell them that in these environmental justice areas, that there was a report in the Environmental Justice Committee from last month that said 5 schools, 85% of the grammar schools, the kids had asthma. Teach the high school kids who aren't in those areas there, and they ought to be out there organizing with, the Sunrise and the Extinction Rebellion and these kind of folks, and do whatever they want to do in their own areas, and get effective. And what started in the 617 areas, they can initiate that in other areas. I mean, throughout the district. And also that you connect with public solar power. There's a war on the community choice aggregation. Edison's trying to slam it, just like PG&E. And they've got these CPIA, it's a withdrawal fee, and they're putting everything in garbage in there, like they're putting the Nuplex, largest in the country, Palo Verde, in Arizona, that we're going to have to pay for that. And they're trying to do that now. Sheila Kuehl spoke against it. Okay, they're trying to do that. They're doing a time of use thing. They're doing garbage. They had $1 billion mistake, and they tried to put it off on the CC. And they didn't legislate it first. We had to write them, get them to litigate it. Stuff's happening, and I know you folks. There's interlocks of the board with Cosiati and with from. There's a couple others, and but this is being threatened, and it's serious. They wiped out the solar industry. The gas company did 100 years ago, and you got a gas company attorney being the attorney over there, and it shows it doesn't show good faith. They hassle the hell out of me. Don't let me go inside of committee meetings, and nothing is recorded there. This is against the Brown Act. It's illegal. They're spending tens and hundreds of millions of dollars, and there's no credibility.
Thank you, Harvey.
Thank you for your testimony. Any other comments on this item? Can I get a motion on this item?
Move approval.
Yep, I'll
I thought
second.
we did, but
Oh, yeah, I think we did before public comment. We have a motion and a second. Would the clerk call the roll?
Councilmember Benoit,
Aye.
Councilmember Caciotti,
yes.
Dr. Burke,
Yes.
motion passes 3-0.
Okay. Item 11.
Good morning, Dr. Burke and committee members. This item is to authorize a purchase order in the amount of $500,000 for a 12-month, Google AdWords campaign for the Right to Breathe. Our signature film. Funding will come from the BP Article Settlement Project Special Revenue Fund. Current campaign began in April of 2019 and will end at the end of March. To date, the Right to Breathe campaign has resulted in 41.7 million impressions, 20 million views, and 1.4 million views of the 45-second trailer on our YouTube page.
Your meeting has ended.
No, it hasn't. We lost Caciotti.
That's what you think.
We lost Councilmember Caciotti.
Yeah, we did. Son of a gun. Is there any way we can get him back?
Yes, we're working on it.
Okay.
I know he has
thank
the
you.
call-in number. Maybe you can call in too.
We're calling him right now.
Thank you. Keep going, Mr. Alatorre.
The campaign uses geo-targeted marketing that focus on users within our jurisdiction. The top 4 marketing search term, marketing/search term groups included family focus, health and fitness, home and garden, and green living. Since the pilot project began in 2015, our YouTube page has received more than 40 million direct views and more than 21 million views of the 45-second trailer. Staff recommends renewing the campaign for 2020. And that's all I've got.
The numbers are amazing. Just staggering.
We do have.
Since we
public-
don't have a,
We do have.
we
public
don't have a
comment.
quorum. Oh, we do have public?
Yes, Mr.
Let me guess. Let me guess. It's Harvey Etter.
It is.
Okay, Harvey. This is like an exercise program for you, Harvey.
Maybe next time.
You get up, sit down, get up, sit down.
It's,
Have less traveling.
it's this and running from the police and the FBI.
Can we hold on?
That's no joke.
Hold on,
Okay,
Harvey.
can you wait just a moment, please?
Board Member Cacchiotti on the phone?
Yes, I reconnected.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Harvey. You can go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to incorporate my comments made otherwise just now into this, that it should include climate change. And you talk about death, you say, because people are dying, okay? Give the figures, 5,000 die each year prematurely from the air pollution. There ought to be, if it's not in there now, that ought to be in some kind of backup material and circulated throughout the schools as well. And with climate change, those numbers can get very big. And that's the real world, So it's communicating from the agency that regulates the air and the climate to the people. So this is extremely important in how it's done. And I don't think it's time to pull punches, that it's time to say, hey, we got to convert away. I mean, this indirect source rule, for instance, that I brought to the board, I want to incorporate all those comments in. And I did speak with board member Cosiati briefly afterwards and got some support about using the refineries and reclaim as the fuel for all the other indirect rules, from the ports to the warehouses to the airports to developments, etc. And that these are places to put in the solar electric trucks and whatnot, and to start small businesses. This idea about using the penalty money for small business that was done before, great. How much was done? What was it? Let's do it again. And in terms of potential penalties, the climate money, what's coming out? They said they're looking into carbon stuff in the federal government and the legislative report. I mean, what are they doing? Are they gonna have a federal tax? I mean, what else is coming down and what? Okay, so, and you did have like 63 million that we went for and 47 went out, and those were sub funds. So there is some kind of structure there, right? I mean, there was for that anyway, but I don't know how that fits in with the budget and those other discussions. Anyway, I think this is very important. It's the interface where the rubber meets the road, kind of a trite expression, but I felt that I have at times like pleaded to you folks to do something about it, that we're really in an existential crisis, especially with Trump being in denial and all this. This is serious stuff, and other kind of belief systems and values. I mean, look what we built around. I was born in this time. The air is crap outside. My family's been here over 100 years. I'm like, this is my town, like Springsteen, my hometown. I was here in 65 shotgun, but I saw the Watts riots happen. I remember the Be Cool campaign. I was at Venice High. We can do better in my hometown, hopefully. Thank you.
We're trying, Harvey. We're trying. Okay, we have a motion and a second on item 11. And we have Board Member Cacchiotti on the telephone. Would the clerk call the roll?
So I believe on this item, Dr. Burke, I don't recall that there was a motion and a second.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
I'll make a
I'll
motion.
second.
Second.
Okay, now we have 2 motions, 2 seconds. So, would the clerk call the roll?
Councilmember Benoit,
Better two than none.
Aye.
Councilmember Caccioli,
Yes.
Dr. Burke,
Aye.
motion passes 3-0.
Okay, items 12, 13. I assume that Mr. Alatorre has nothing to say about those?
Zero.
Thank you. Is there any other business before the committee? Do we have any public comment cards?
Yes, we do. One from Mr. Ritter.
Okay.
Careful, Harvey.
Hello, I'm Harvey Etter, speaking for myself and for the Public Solar Power Coalition. This is kind of like the expression kicking a dead horse. I think that comes from Dostoevsky, from Brothers, and there's a point in there where there's a horse that's dying in the street, and then people come up and kick it. Anyway, could be wrong, but what getting run out of federal court a couple months ago, trying to file papers to contest the 16 plan, and the fact that the district, CARB, and federal EPA purged it, did no study of the Solar New Deal, of 100 exhibits. And that was not done again by CARB, the SIP, or EPA, completely trashed. Okay, in those submittals, which Barsky did not put in, I said, can I get a copy of it? He said, I'll send it back to you, but I won't give you a copy of it. Including there is a 92 litigation with you folks, based on the 91 plan that goes back to the 89 federal plan, because stuff wasn't done. And including in there is, it tells about how the red car ran down there. I used to use it when I was a kid, down Venice Boulevard, and it was all electric, okay? It was in the 80s, it was in 60 Minutes, there were 40, 50 cities that were ripped out of by General Motors, Chevron, Standard Oil, and Firestone Rubber, okay? They were litigated in the late 40s, Justice Department, their vice president's got a $1 fine. Conspiracy. This is the epitome of competitive capitalism. Excuse me. This is the real world, okay? We could have had solar right here in River City back then, okay? Also, I said RICO. Not only were they doing this, but the regulatory agencies, you folks, straight on up, are supporting this in the infrastructure. Just looking at okay. We came up in the solar committee. They say, "Oh, we're going to conserve energy conservation. Conserves the same decision-making, infrastructure, power structure. Key bono. It's got to be changed, and that's where solar renewables is different, and it's way different, and that's what we're trying to do now in addressing climate change and to avoid the sixth greatest extinction, etc. And the interface, like Hawking said, the two essential nuclear war and climate change, and one exacerbates the other. Anyway, we'll take 99 of that money and study what Bernie and Warren and Bloomberg are doing, and try to get on that right away. And also, we want to appeal what's gone, and we want support of you and stipulation, both Cosiati from Justice and CARB, and from the district, and then bring the feds in. This is garbage. This is not America. This is stuff that happened in Nazi Germany. It's bull.
Thank you, Harvey.
Thank you for your testimony. Is there any further public testimony in CC8?
No, sir.
How about Wildermere?
None here.
How about with Mr. Caccioti? Is there any testimony at your location?
Caltrans.
Okay, thank you. There's
None of the other prisoners want to make a comment?
I'm sorry?
None of the other prisoners want to make a comment there, Catcher?
Yeah, right. I know everybody's innocent there. So that concludes our meeting, and we will again meet on March 13th at 10 a.m. Thank you very much for coming.